Hey, what's up, everybody? I made it back just in the nick of time. Let's get some focus here. Um, yeah, I was out riding. Tell that story in a minute. Say what's up first, but yeah, got back here at about 8:41. So, and obviously I have to start that 10-minute countdown 10 minutes before. So 8:50. So I see we got Patrick in here. Stream Elements. Large Marge made it home. Good. Uh, what's up, Roger? Good evening. Pudgy, Summit Perry. Patrick was asking how everyone's doing. Let's see. Pudgy wants to sell his Jameis. JMZ, what's up, man? He said he loved my last video. Thanks. Yeah, I like that one. I was happy with how that came out. Didn't even really, I'm like, maybe I'll try and film this whole day of photographing. So I did the little intro and stuff. So, yeah. Looks like Rusty and Patrick are getting some rain out there in AZ, and they're excited about it. So, what's up, Jay Dandy? Rick's got to get his pants off because he didn't know this was going to make it on time. And he's already retracted a message. Jay Dandy's watching Cleveland baseball team play some baseball. I've listened into a little bit of baseball, what's going on this year. My one friend Greg, he was the one in the last video, if you saw it, with the beard, who was real close to the camera, just making a joke about cycling. he's a big baseball fan, so he got me up to speed on that the Indians aren't going to be that good this year, or Cleveland baseball team, I should say. Hopefully the Spiders. I hope they end up going with the Spiders. I think that's kind of what the fan favorite is. They were called the Spiders at one point, so plus there's so many uh, cool logo and swag opportunities with that. So, hey, what's up, Grand Subject? Yeah, so the reason I was rushing home, I went down to the shop and Large Marge put some new tires on my Rally. So I'd already bought them a while ago, and I know I've talked about them, but I have the Rene Hurst Hurricane Ridge. Is that what they're called? Hurricane? Yeah, Hurricane Ridge. So he set those up tubeless for me. It was nice because he was able to swap everything over. He even reused a bunch of the sealant because I had put new sealant in the Terravale cannonballs, or he had. I had it right before Road Apple Roubaix, which now would be what, about a month ago, a little over a month ago. So there's still good sealant. So he was able to suck it up, reuse it, mixed in with a little more. But I can't really say how I feel about the tires yet. We rode around a little bit, but I have them over. He put a little, like he said, a little higher pressure than normal because he said these kind tend to they tend to leak for a little while. So he was like, they'll go down too quick if we don't put enough pressure in. They feel good, but we were riding city and I have a lot of pressure in them. So of course they're going to feel fast and good. So it'll be interesting to see how I like them as it goes on, but I'm pretty confident that I'm going to like the Rene Hurst tires. Just being a big Jan Ein fan and everything in general. So Rusty wants to vote for the Indians being renamed the Steamers in honor of the city's industrial past. Dylan was out mountain biking, shredding. Nice. Yeah, no, that's the thing. So yeah, so then Aaron. So what happened? Aaron had a meeting downtown. So I was getting the new tires on the Rally. Aaron had a meeting, so we both rode downtown. She was meeting with our friend AJ, who owns a coffee shop and a coffee shop cocktail bar, and they're getting ready to eventually open their interior. So she was helping them get the drink list and all that stuff in order. And then me and Large Marge rode over to meet her there, talked to AJ for a little bit. And then with Aaron's bike advocacy project, which she might be on this week to talk about, if not, maybe next week, she wanted to map out where there was actually bike parking in downtown Akron. So we kind of did a whole grid of all the streets, and then we got a door beer, sat outside and had that. And then I looked at the clock and I'm like, same thing. It's just like the sun's out so late right now that all of a sudden I realized I need to get moving. So yeah, then Aaron was saying, please don't drop me. But I think it would have been the other way around turning out on the ride home. So I got my second COVID shot Sunday morning. Yesterday, I realized I was a little lethargic and not able to concentrate that well. I didn't even realize what it was until I started to think about it. And then same thing today. Everything was fine today. Work went fine and everything. I was working at the computer all day. But when we went out riding, I'm like, man, I just don't feel that strong. And it dawned on me, my immune system and body's probably doing other things, so I probably just don't have that much power. But if I hadn't done anything physical, I never even would have noticed. So I got off really easy, as I think Dylan even said in the chat. But a lot of friends and a lot of people I've talked to, even at gigs when I've been working lately, have just said how they got feverish and had like a really bad, few hours or even day or two. I think if you see at the top of the screen, our latest member, C. Masco, she was in the last video, AJ's wife, and she was saying I think she had 3 days that she was kind of pretty much down. So yeah, definitely got lucky, but really happy to be fully vaccinated and have it all out of the way. Like I've said before on here, I'm not a big fan of needles. It was almost like nothing, these shots though, and mine were both in a drive-through at the CDC, the county CDC. So it was like super easy. I was there early. I was in and out in like a half hour. So but I'm just glad all that stuff's done. So what else is everybody else up to? 7 for the tribe. Oh, Rick's had 11 days waiting for his new extraterrestrials. So Rusty was riding. Well, Rusty posted some photos. So when we talk about the tires he was out riding, we could show some of the really cool photos he has up. I was getting bugs all in my face on the way back, and I think Oh yeah, got one on some on my back. Weird. Anyways, yeah, let's see what everybody's. So I actually didn't even have a chance to go through my setup, so hopefully everything's working all right. I think just enough time to get it up there, but let's see. Now Pudgy was saying he has tough decisions tonight. He's got the Technicolor hat, the masthead tire swing, and the Southern Tier Nitro Coconut Truffle. That's one that could go one of two ways. It could. They had one that was a creme brulee one year, and it was like too much. I couldn't even get through like an 8 ounce of it. I actually had that at the brewery, the original Southern Tier. Um, but yeah, Technicolor and the Tire Swing are both really good. Rusty has a La Ciudad IPA. What was the brewery? Wilderness Brewing. And Large Marge. I should know what he's drinking in that picture because I picked it out, but I can't remember it already. Uh, Rick said audio and video are good. Great, yeah. Yeah, I usually like to start testing everything at 8 o'clock. Kind of do one test for the stream, spend a few minutes, get everything in order, and then I might, depending on what night it is, I might sit down and chill for like 15 minutes since I do stand here. But and then at like 8:30 I'll start like going, double checking again. But yeah, pulled it off in like 7, 8 minutes. So oh, Rusty said the creme brulee mixed with the pumpkin. Oh, the pumpkin is legitness. Huh. Man, that sounds heavy. I would have to try it. Pumpkin, me and Large Marge have talked about this, um, is a really good beer to cellar. It almost tastes I feel like the last number of years it has like a harshness to it. Southern Tier's pumpkin beer, pumpkin, which always used to be one of my favorites. But when they really ramped up production, I just felt like it had a harshness to the spices. But a restaurant next to the brewery brought us a couple crates. Well, brought Large Marge and Otis a couple crates that I happened to indulge in as well, of beers that were like a year expired. And the pumpkin we realized was awesome, being a year old. And we've actually talked about, we're like, we need to buy that every year, but then sit on it for a year, so you always have it. So Dylan said Tim is a photographer so he could remember stuff. That's true. I take photos, post them to Flickr, and then I could always know what happened in my life. Do I do vocal exercises? Yeah, I do like a little me, ah, me. I learned that in elementary school. I do those a couple times. They get me going. Or maybe my camera has become a crutch. Maybe I used to remember more, and now I just take pictures, and I'm like, oh, now I don't have to remember that. Who knows? Pudgy said Shipyard Pumpkinhead is a favorite of his. It's also a local home for him. Yeah, Shipyard's Pumpkinhead is one of the first pumpkin beers I know ever. Like, well, of the modern craft brew era, pumpkin beers were like totally a normal thing in New England way back. Because basically they would just throw whatever they had into the brews, all kinds of squash, whatever they had during the harvest time. So pumpkin beers were like really normal, but no one ever, considered them pumpkin beers. It was just you would ferment whatever you could get. So yeah, Rusty's talking about beer. Oh, hey, what's up, Rodford? He's in here. But yeah, with beer cocktails, I rarely order them because the places that have them, that I've always seen beer cocktails at, have been like breweries where I want to try their beers because I haven't had them before in general. So I think I would try a beer cocktail. Say I went up to like, a place I've been a bunch, like Great Lakes. I've had all their beers. If they have one new one, maybe I could get a flight or a sample size of that. But I think that's one of the reasons I'm always trying to try a beer I haven't had before, so I can't drink the altered version if I've never tasted the original, if that makes any sense. Bradley B said he felt like crap after his second COVID shot yesterday, so took off work and caught up on your vids. Oh, thanks. Said Micah's interview experiencing the Fool's Loop was cool. Yeah, that's the one live stream that I've been saying are now like a few of the interviews. I think the interviews are the ones that are like kind of worth watching after the fact. Now most of them are so interactive, but yeah, I thought he's a really good storyteller. He's got that teacher experience, which helps, but he had a really compelling story to tell. But me and him are really good at playing off each other because we know each other pretty well these days. So yeah. Oh, Grand Subject wants to know where to send a bike pick. We show the bike picks through the Discord. Drop that. Someone else probably drop it too. But just yeah, I think it just takes an email. You put in a password, join the Discord. Yeah, and it's not a pain to join. It doesn't like well, I haven't since I turned off for the channel push notifications. You have to opt in to push notifications, so it's like a thing you could join without getting a bunch of pain there. So pain in the butt stuff. Oh, he's saying the creme brulee shot stout was way better as a boiler maker. Huh. That makes sense. Rusty was saying Great Lakes Pumpkin Ale is a pub exclusive released in November and is always good. Yeah, I like it. Great Lakes does that where they wait till it's actually they can actually roast real pumpkins in season, so they don't release it till usually fairly late. Thirsty Dog used to do the same thing. They used all kinds of squashes. I remember stopping in that brewery and they were pulling help me out. What are the giant Hubbard giant purple squash? Gray, purple make more sense to use because there's just so much more volume than a pumpkin, and they taste like pumpkins. So they would actually roast those, and then but they would bottle and release it. But it was always late October before they came out, which I liked. Now, like all the pumpkin ales are like getting released in like like it's like August and stuff. And I'm like, it's still summer. It's still summer beer time. I hate how everything's so ahead. And then like in October, all the Christmas ales are out. It's always like a rush to end the season before it's over. But butternut, no, yeah, not butternut. I mean, I'm sure they were roasting squash like that, but yeah, just like those huge Hubbard squash. We actually sold them at Soleil's, the farm I worked at. We put googly eyes on them and sell them as slug pumpkins because no one knows what Hubbard squash are anymore. And one year, this older lady came up and she was like, "Why do you have eyeballs on the Hubbard squash?" And I said, "Because you're the only person I've ever talked to here who knew what a Hubbard squash was." So yeah, so this gives you an idea of why isn't that full screen? Oh, we've had this problem with this browser before. Yeah, just way more volume than a pumpkin. Like a pie pumpkin. The pumpkins you actually bake with aren't the carving pumpkins. They're the small. Some people call them sugar pumpkins, pie pumpkins. Another thing at the farm we would sell them as was desktop pumpkins because another way that's what farmers do. If you wonder where all the crazy names come from, they just make them up. If it's not something super heirloom. Wait, what are you talking about, Rick? About 720, 1080? This should be streaming in 1080. I think that's your connection speed. That's not my problem. Oh, you guys are talking about mowing lawns. Obsolescence said the trick is to let all the grass die, then no more yard work. Yeah. Let's take a look. I think you guys did. We did get some new bike pictures in the stream too. I think a lot for the last few days that were pretty cool. Today it's over 80 degrees here. Even on the ride home, we were just sitting there as the sun was setting. So I threw my sweatshirt on, and I was should have taken it off before we rode home. It was so warm. It was beautiful today. So yeah, there was. Erin was saying there was when she got up yesterday morning there was frost on the grass. So this just shows you what Northeast Ohio is like if you're unfamiliar. And then today it's in the 80s. And then I think we dropped back down over the weekend, actually. Patrick, what are these lawns that you speak of? Actually, I've flown into Arizona. I flew into, not into Arizona, that was New Mexico, but I flew into Albuquerque, and like out in the suburbs, you see this, like it's all desert. Then all of a sudden, as the plane comes into the suburbs, there's all these green lawns around, and I'm like, what is this? This should be illegal, you know? What is Pudgy talking about there with his local spot switched to some new wheat? I think it's just a typo. Some new wheat that's not so good. I missed it somewhere. I missed the joke. Oh yeah, I have a three Floyd's Barbarian Haze IPA. These were in the fridge from the other day because, like I said, didn't have time to go. And like I said, I usually like to show the local beers. There's some of JMZ's photos from a couple days ago, which look really cool. Oh, that one has like a whatever that old tank was, like a face look. Oh, Patrick saying grass lawns are popular in the Phoenix area, not nearly as common here in Baja, Arizona. They shouldn't be common. They shouldn't be popular or common anywhere. What an environment! They're an environmental disaster here in Ohio, but they're even more so in the desert, right? Getting into getting into our social and political topics before the piddle break. That's unusual for me. I dig those Specialized. Those are cool bikes. Those are the WTBs I originally had on the Rowley, I believe. That was the first kind of tire I had on that bike. Then I had the Terravale Cannonballs, went through two on the rear, one on the front, and then switched over to the Renee Hurst today. House is Dylan out on the tandem. Oh, then I know it, people were chatting about this in the Discord, but yeah, um, some of Rusty's photos. Let me remind myself where this was. Up on the Mogalone Rim. Obviously, I'll butcher that like everything else, but I think he was talking about how gnarly some of it was, how it wasn't even almost like path. It looks beautiful though. Yeah, that looks amazing. How Rusty was saying he does have a lawn, like 11 by 40 for the doggies. Yeah. I mean, do you have to water it all the time? Lawn out there. So, oh, it's pronounced Mogion. 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 Mow the lawn. Because here, when people put in new grass, they have to water it all the time. In general, most people don't water their. You kind of look like a crazy person watering your lawn around here anymore. Even in like one, it could become illegal in drought years to water your grass around here, which droughts. Man, we've only had like three major absolute droughts in my life where I think they actually put regulations on what water you can use. I'm sure they're going to become more common, but yeah, it's more unusual unless you're planting a new lawn. You kind of just let it do what it does. So this is a cool shot from Rick. This is another, this is a shot from Dylan out. I think he said it was an early ride. That's such a cool looking bike. That's a bike that looks really good with black carbon wheels too. I really like the like chrome looking aluminum wheels I have, but this bike with those colors and the black fork, the carbon wheels look really good on. A couple more shots that Rick posted of his Surly. It's a really cool shot also. Must be like a like a little like lodge, like picnic lodge at the park. Did he caption it? No. I remember knowing, like realizing, I think it was, I don't know if it was Discord or on here, I'm like, oh, Rick must actually have a nice camera. And now it turns out I know he's a photographer, but the realization with the depth of field on the photos he posts just makes it obvious. It's like this wasn't taken with a cell phone and wouldn't look that cool. Large March says his landlord has been watering his lawn for the last 3 weeks. And that doesn't surprise me, having met your landlord, Large Marge. One time we were going to have a beer on his porch during a ride. We were heading back that way. And then I remember she was out there, what? Was she taking down or putting up the Christmas lights at completely the wrong season? I can't remember which it was, but it was just like Fox News or some conservative radio stuff blaring. And he's like, let's go in the backyard. I'm like, please. That's a great idea. Patrick was saying some good friends of his moved back to T-Town after living in Cincinnati for a decade and put in an artificial lawn that looks and feels very convincing. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too. You really can put in artificial lawns now that are comfortable and look like grass, whereas, you know, back in the day, it used to just be like the bright green AstroTurf. So, yeah. Rusty says they have it. We have it on a time. Oh, a timer to water 10 minutes total at night. Gray water and efficient in terms of watering grass. Yeah, that's the problem around here. When people are watering their lawn, it's like using like the good water, you know. So. Oh, Rusty was saying the fake grass gets too hot. Makes sense. Wild Fescue, this is obsolescence, saying Wild Fescue from Canada is a no-mow grass if anyone is into that sort of thing. When I had my house, my goal was to get the whole entire backyard to end up being gardens, like stuff that was like producing. And, you know, the front yard had no trees, so I started to plant trees and all that kind of stuff. I was like, my goal is not to be dealing with a lawn, you know, like, you know, even like my parents to this day, they have these big lawns and they spend so much time messing with their lawn. I like just, you know, granted, like what you're talking about, Rusty, is not the same as like my parents my dad must mow 2.5 acres, you know, so, and then you have lawnmowers to deal with and trimming, and then you put dangerous chemicals on it to keep it green because it's not native to here. So yeah, just a whole crazy thing. You think there'd be a way for them to have artificial grass that didn't? Yeah, it's a desert though, so I know nothing about the desert, so I'm not going to talk about heat and what gets hot in the desert. Oh, this is another picture that Rusty posted. It says OHSO Brewing in Paradise Valley, legit patio. It looks awesome. I'll make this bigger in a second, but I can't see the caption when I do. A DDH hazy, 3 miles to home after a road ride through the rich folk neighborhoods. Yeah, yeah, that looks really nice right now. Another one from Rick. Again, just I love that great depth of field and propped up. Oh yeah, he's got a kickstand. I was like, how do you prop it up? Because I always use the helmet for those kind of photos. This was my shot last night. This is a restaurant just across the street from the studio. It used to be a place that was a New Orleans themed spot, but it was all like, as you can kind of see how like everything is painted and there's stuff everywhere. The whole interior used to be like that, and everywhere you sat was kind of private, but just covered in just stuff. Um, I'm so drawing a blank on what the name of that place was, and it wasn't the super cheesy name like Bourbon Street. It was whatever. It's a different place now that I'm not that fond of, but the sun was setting. I was just getting home on the single speed. Like I said, I was lethargic, I think, from the shot, but got like just a 10-mile loop and ran into two sets of friends downtown. My friends Ryan Hugh and friend Zach. Had a beer with them on a patio, and then when I was going to get back toward the bridge to come home, I saw Otis and Large Marge. So I went and talked to them for a few minutes. Then right as the sun was setting, I was like, gonna come in and go home. Then I'm like, I need to get a cool sunset photo of the single speed. So stopped into that. This was Rusty. It was only 73 degrees today. So he took a half day and went for a ride to Brown's Ranch and back. Oh, that looks awesome. Make that bigger. Yeah. Let's see the other one. Oh, yeah, that looks awesome. Rusty said the labor to maintain a lawn is the worst. Same for pools. Yeah. I have cousins. My mom's sister lives in Florida and Sanford, which is like outside of Orlando. It's kind of like an Akron is to Cleveland. Sanford would be to Orlando. Well, it's where Trayvon Martin was shot, if that helps. But yeah, they have a pool and like with some like health issues and the kids moving away, they didn't maintain it for like 2 years. And when I went down to visit them the last time in 2007, it just happened to be like at the end of that. And I mean, it looked like a pond. Like if you don't, if you don't maintain a giant body of water. But I was like sitting out back in their yard, and a hawk swooped down and pulled a frog out of the pool. I mean, it's amazing how fast pools like will revert to, not revert, but I mean they really do just become like a habitat, So it's one thing I really, really thought that I loved having my yard and improving it in the big gardens. But then once I moved to the studio and like I do have garden space out back. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I do like to show pictures of my plants and gardens and stuff like that. But it's an alley and I just have a little narrow garden along the fence and a couple raised beds I put in this year. But then realizing that like yard work is now something I don't have to do. I mean, like I sweep off the front porch. These are like classic storefronts right here that I'm actually standing in like the glass storefront. But sweep off the porch, like I have to maintain like the fire escapes and just typical maintenance on the outdoors of a building. But not having to put that time into a yard, something that I thought I really loved having, I'm like, it's more time to go riding. It's more time to do the stuff I want. It's more time to do this. And I don't know, like I never understood, like, I'm like, how could someone want to live in a condo? How could someone want to do this or that? And then when I don't have a yard to maintain, I was like, you know what? That's kind of nice. Don't get me wrong. I love my own yard and having fires and all that kind of stuff. But, and that, I don't know, that pride comes to like growing something over the years, trees or whatever it may be. But yeah, I'm surprised that I don't miss it. I thought that was something that was integral to who I was and what I liked. But yeah, I guess you just adapt, right, to anything in life. But we're going to auction off PPP's bike, Pudgy Pedal Pushers. Ben is Large Marge is open to bidding at 69 cents. Roger's in at 75C. Yeah, you You have to super, yeah, that's how I get my cut. You have to super chat these auction numbers. Yeah, let's see if we got it. I think the couple new photos might have popped up. Oh, Dylan's out riding with some buds again. Nice. He captioned this the squad. Oh yeah, he said he was out mountain biking. Nice. I'm sure you're like me, where I had my little bubble I still rode with, but like you've seen in the last few videos, now broadening it. After being 2 weeks in on the second shot, I'm comfortable, a lot more comfortable, and now I will be 2 weeks. Total comfort. Oh man. There were some good photos in. Oh, there it was. That's where saw the photo. Oh, Grand Subject made it in here. Let's take a look at what he's got up on the screen. So he wrote, "This is a Trek he bought not so long ago, 80 something. Don't know if it's a US made Trek. It is definitely a US made Trek. I'll tell you that right now. This would be probably, it would be between an 83 and 84, 85 maybe, like somewhere in that range. I can't see the number, like which model it is, but I could tell already it's, yeah, down tube shifting. Like it's similar to mine, just a little bit newer. Mine's an 82. They switched from the decal logo to this painted on logo in 83, I believe. So yeah, it's very cool. Oh, it has the Trek branded dropouts too. They did that. I just saw there's a bike at the shop when I was getting my tubeless on that had those. Mine are similar, but they don't have the stamped actual Trek in there. Is that a Shimano group set? Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, it is. Yeah, mine was Sun Tour, but this is pretty similar. Chromoly stays and butted frame tubes. Yeah, so this is a pretty decent truck. See how many gears it has? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Yeah, you could. There are a lot of Trek catalogs online. They're pretty easy to find if you actually Google Trek catalogs. And I think even they're trying to remember if their actual Trek's own website might have this information. So you'll actually be able to narrow down exactly what year this was made pretty easily. I'm guessing it's a 84. That would be if I'm gonna. And I'm thinking it's a. Yeah, it's one of their nicer models. It's definitely not a low end model. Trek then, though, I guess at this point wasn't making anything that was junk yet. They didn't have any. They didn't have any bikes that weren't nice at this point. It would be a few more years till they started making some questionable choices with what they wanted to do with their company. IMHO. So. Rick said he has an 8 foot by 12 foot lawn and he pays someone else to cut it. Hey, yeah, whatever, man. Whatever works. So Broadford's offering on the bidding for Pudgy's bike half a rack of PBR, some used Resolutes, and a tray of lasagna. I'm a pretty decent Trek. So Grand Subject's got his current bike up. I'd be interested in what you paid for your truck. I overpaid for mine because of the condition. I overpaid for mine because of the looks. I just really thought it was cool with the original decals, and I really think that one's cool too. But it was just like I've talked about on here before. It was just pristine. and I knew it was a little pricey, and I was like, it's worth it, and it has turned out to be worth it because I turned it into a Neo Retro build that I have over 4,000 miles and tours on and all that kind of stuff, and it's still my favorite kind of road bike to ride, even though I mean, not race bike, but just a bike that runs on 32s. So this is current bike. Oh, is this another Trek? A 330? Oh, let me get it up here. Sorry, guys. Are these homemade fenders that you put together yourself? Definitely cool. So this is kind of, I'm guessing you got like a Frankenstein bike going on here, right? Something that you pieced together yourself with the kind of bars and your rack and everything. Open original. There we go. Nice. I'm such a fan of taking vintage frames and doing whatever you want with them. They're so adaptable. I actually just bought another bike today. I bought a Schwinn Continental for $40. I was riding yesterday with the single speed, and I was going down streets I'd never been down, and a guy had like 5 bikes locked together and just a phone number in front of him, and I called him today, and it was just a older dude, and I think it said 20 yesterday, and then when I got up there, he's like 65, and I was like 65. I thought it said 20 on the sign. He was like, no, that's this Huffy, and I was like, he's like, make me an offer. I was like, I'm in at $40, so $40. I think it had Shimano 600 on it though, but I think he had put wheels on it or built wheels. There were no brake tracks, so I think they were track wheels. I need to look at it more. I haven't had the time, but yeah. Patrick says he saw my same model truck around here the other day. Almost left a note to see if they wanted to sell it. Nice. Oh, what's up, Kyle? Kyle asked what I was drinking. I have a 3-4 Floyd's Barbarian Haze. Yeah, got to focus for a second. Where's my mouse? Have I had these pictures up while I was talking? No, I don't remember. Said the red ride smooth and quick. Oh, I also saw Traveling Through's latest video. I was showing that. Was he asking about fancy quick release? I'll see what you guys say about that. Oh, that was the wrong button. Yeah, the gold. Yeah, the gold looks like it needs to be cleaned up a bit, but it doesn't look like it's in horrible shape or anything like that. So. No, that's a bike worth putting some effort into. Oh, what do you? Yeah, sorry guys, I hit the wrong button. So he's saying fancy quick release. Or you guys were talking about if that is a Rick asked, it's almost like a chainstay length adjuster. Yeah, old bikes. That's how you could actually modify the fuel of the ride by using those tiny little. Well, let me put them out. Those little adjuster screws. So like on my Schwinn on the Peloton, which is like I built as like a road bike that's very aero. I push the wheel all the way forward, so it has more of a racy feel. Like on my Trek, since I use it for touring, I have the wheel all the way back in the dropout. But that's really typical of a nice vintage steel bike. You should almost always have that. And the other thing you use it for is to, since you're quick release and a vintage, or it wasn't vintage when it was new, but you could also make sure you have the wheel completely straight in the dropout, so you could just got those micro adjustments to get it completely straight in there. What's Pudgy say? He said he scored some 2021 Dior Hydros for only $180 today. Salsa's getting some new stoppers, huh? I don't have any hydraulic brakes. I only have one bike with disc brakes, which is the Raleigh, and those are mechanicals, which, as Large Marge will tell you, are a total pain because he had to deal with them today when he put my bike back in, the rear wheel back in. Or was it the front you guys were messing with? I can't even remember, but. What is Rusty? I'll give you a new stopper. Oh, man. Everybody's a comedian. Kyle asked if I've ever ridden an early super sport, like a Continental, but chrome ollie, fillet brazed. It's a dreamer. No, I will look up those, though. Super Sport, Schwinn Super Sport. I was talking about this tonight. It's kind of interesting. I've had a number of Schwinns and I've sold them all. Not because I didn't even like them, just because I was trying to think earlier. I think the first one was called like a World Tour. It was chrome ollie, but it wasn't butted. It was not that great of a bike. It wasn't horrible. It was fine for what it was. I actually used it as my first touring bike for a year or two. And then I sold it to the guy who owns Akron Recording. I actually stripped it down from a lot of its parts, used its parts on other bikes, and then I built it back up and sold it. And then I had my Schwinn World Sport. It was way too small for me. I kind of rode it as I was thinking like a winter bar beater type bike, but the frame was actually pretty nice. That was, 4130 chrome ollie double butted. And then since it was a little too small, I built that up in a new way for Erin, and that was Erin's first bike before she got her Surly Pacer. And then for 25 bucks, I picked up a Schwinn that was really small, fixed it up, and then sold it to a friend's son. So it's like his towpathing bike now. And I think I'm going to do the same thing with this other bike. I'm going to use it for YouTube tutorials. I think I want to show how to do a Neo retro build, but not in the live stream. So it's very concise and clear for some of the things that I don't see that often on YouTube, and some of the questions people have asked me on some of those videos that I've done that have more views. So I think I'm going to use that to do like I said, I do a Neo retro build series and stuff like that. But same thing. And then I think when I'm done with it, I'll probably end up selling it because I don't need another vintage bike. Schwinn Super Sport. Oh man, I'm nuts. Schwinn Super Sport on eBay. I think you have to be more specific on like a year because Schwinn use their names forever. So even when you say like World Sport or Continental, it really depends on what year it was because they kept all those names around and the quality over the cycle can vary. Oh, so they are like a much nicer frame from everything I'm seeing here. Let me see if I could find. Here's an 82. Here's an 82 where they're trying to get almost $1,000. This one's built up in more of like a Rodinier style. I saw some that were just looking more, how are you saying like a 70? That helps narrow down the search. Let's see how. See if we could find something. I forgot using Firefox. You can't like image search and just pull up a full screen. It's garbage. I like this browser better in every other way except for their image search. It's absolutely horrible. Found one nice one. Now I'm finding versions that are definitely cheaper models and not exactly what this is supposed to be. Oh yeah, large Marge. I said I sold all my Schwinn's. My Schwinn Peloton is obviously a Schwinn. Yeah, that's what large Marge is. Obviously, yeah. So I have not sold all my Schwinns. I have one. My one, what I fast road bike is a Schwinn. So Pudgy said, or Kyle, who was asking that? Mulk Hogan asked, "Is the ride from Akron to Columbus scenic or dull?" It's actually very scenic. Jeez, come on. So Akron to Massillon is the towpath. It's really pretty wooded trail. Then you cut over on a trail that takes you out to Dalton, which goes along lakes and farms, and then you go through Amish country, and there you're on like really beautiful, like hilly and swaying roads. Why can't I think swervy? What's the word for that? Anyways, yeah, I can't focus, Rick. You know that. Yeah, so I really like that part. And then there's a buggy trail for a while, and then in Columbus, outside Columbus, it's like farmland and flat. But overall, I think it's very scenic down to Columbus. There's the parts that get pretty boring and monotonous are actually between Columbus and Cincinnati, or Columbus and London, and not even right outside of Columbus. You do like 20, 30 miles outside of Columbus, and then it starts to get kind of monotonous. That's Pudgy's area. He could tell you about that exactly. Yeah, Columbus to Xenia is pretty boring. And then after Xenia, it gets really pretty again. Yeah. Yeah, Malk, the toughest part really is from London to near Columbus. It's very flat, very straight. You're looking at telephone poles. You could see as far as you know, as far as you can see. It almost looks like a cartoon. So rolling, rolling, yes, rolling hills, rolling hills. Tim focuses as well as an R5. Snaky, S like, yeah, those are all good. Malk's in London, so yeah, he knows all about those trails. We actually, I've told this on here before, but we skipped that section last year when we did Ohio to Erie. We shot over to Springfield and down, which really mitigated a lot of the monotonous part of the route. So yeah, Schwinn. Back to Schwinn's though. Schwinn is like you know, being the huge U.S. brand for the century is just like the Raleigh was in the UK and like Peugeot was in France. They made everything from the boat anchor, what we would now consider like a Kmart or a Walmart bike to the nice high end racing bike. So, but yeah, Schwinn happened just always seem to use the same names, and it like really depends on like when you what era that name was used in is what kind of bike it was. It's oh, here's a 73 Schwinn catalog. Look at this. See more pictures. Is this legit? Oh, it's an ad. Yeah. Proper bicycle fit and adjustment. Oh man, do I have to respond to these comments? Oh, look at these Schwinn Paramount tandems. I can't enlarge them. Look at these outfits outside of the Rose Bowl. This photo is amazing. These outfits. Look at the white belt. Can you guys see that? I mean, I know it's a little small on the stream there, but I can make this. Yeah, there we go. Shorts about that length are what are back in style, right? I want to adjust where that is. Whoops, sorry. Some of Perry said, night guys, battery is going to die. See ya, man. Rusty asked me what's my favorite garlic-based meal. Man, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, when I'm cooking, I use a lot of garlic in my like Italian food, my pasta and stuff like that. But I guess what signifies garlic based? So here's the Paramount as the choice of champions. Oh, Pudgy said for Ron, they never went out of style. I do like these Schwinn. These are probably wool shorts at this point, right? Wool Schwinn. I can't think. He's a vampire. Man, I am slow tonight. I didn't even see that coming. Schwinn Paramount Deluxe. "15-speed wide range, 31 to 104 derailleur gears." Oh yeah, look at this guy. Wow, that had to be, that's a pretty nice bike, right? 450 at 1972. Someone do the conversion really quick for me. Adjust for inflation. Comes the, everything was leather saddles back then, right? Chrome tip forks, high flanged hubs. I'm into the sky blue Paramount right here. Oh, Mulk, you were in Akron? You came through Akron last week, grabbed a bar he had for sale? Oh, yeah, too bad we didn't know. Yeah. Yeah. A good chunk of us are up here in Akron, so. Oh, Dylan said Kit from the 70s just looks like modern Rafa Kit. Well, I think modern Rafa Kit just looks like Kit from the 70s, but I get what you were trying to say. Definitely a jugular man. Ooh, look at this. This might get you the ladies, huh? Which one of these two is going to ride the bike? That's the question. Neither of them look prepared to ride a bike. Oh, it's the Reynolds frame, huh? The P13-9 Professional Road Racing Paramount. 23 to 25 pounds. Not bad. We should recreate this catalog shot for shot. This guy's feeding a peacock. Why are there birds everywhere? What is this picture? Ah, this guy's just having a good old time. Good old laugh. Whether it's a ride to a pool, a daily ride along the bikeway, or a long ride over the country road, the Continental is unmatched in its class. Oh, Rick did the conversion for me. That was a $2,800 bike? Really? Wow. That is seriously $2,800. Man. What's a blade like in real life? Damn small check milk. Am I friends with Deacon Frost? This chat is lighting up now. Oh, James E votes to be in the tandem photo. His shorts are a little long. Schwinn Suburban. Now we got some swept-back bar bikes. Varsities. Still see a lot of varsities around. These must have sold by... Man, those must have sold a lot of bikes. The collegiate. At first choice, when economy with Schwinn value are primary considerations. The Speedster. I like that guy's tennis shoes. Those are early Vans or something. Oh, a ladies model. See, it's Schwinn that's single-handedly like responsible for turning Mixty, which is totally a city bike that's not supposed to have. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman; anyone could ride a Mixty. But of course, in the U.S., it has to be called a ladies' bike. Like the buckle on that skirt. All right. Pudgy can be the bikini chicken. Oh yeah, so this is what I have going on this weekend. Our Sunday. So Dylan was saying talk about your trip. So we are heading to the North Bend Rail Trail, and a couple friends did this 2 years ago. I think they did it before the pandemic. I don't think it could have been last year. And Pudgy's sleeping. James, he asked if I got a new sleeping pad. I didn't, but we're actually not doing like true bike camping on this trip. So what we're doing is we are going to camp in the middle of the trail here where there's a state park and a lodge. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, Kenny, who did it before, said each end of the trail doesn't really have anything too exciting. So we're going to stay in the middle where we park and then ride out to the end one day and ride back. And then the next day, ride out to the other end and ride back. I guess the trail is supposed to just be really cool and scenic. I think it said, well, right here it is 72 miles. So 36 bridges and 10 tunnels, including a 2,297-foot tunnel. So it'll be kind of cool because we'll be able to, I don't have that up there, sorry. So we won't have to ride fully loaded, which I don't mind doing. But for this trip, and we have kind of a decent group going, it'll be kind of cool. But what I'm going to actually do is I have a photo shoot in Fort Lawrence, which is on the towpath, and it's a towpath event. The convener, the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition, who helped build new sections of the towpath and maintain the towpath south of Summit County. I'm doing a shoot they're having a road rally where people drive to one spot and then another spot and do history things and get lunch. And then I'm going to be doing photos of the road rally people in their cars, which is down by Bolivar. It's about 50 miles from here. I need to be there at 10:30. So on Saturday morning, I'm going to get up, ride the 50 miles with all my camera gear on me, do the photo shoot, and then Aaron booked us a hip camp spot that I think is just a lean-to that is an hour ride away on bike. And so I'm going to head that way. And I think what I'm going to do is plan a longer loop because Aaron probably won't be able to get down there till 4. And my shoot ends at 1:30. So I'm going to do like a long loop and then meet Aaron. And so we'll camp there on Saturday night. And then we'll ride down to where that campground is in Cairo. And we will meet everybody down there for the ride. So the other thing is, so I have not picked up a couple more of the sleeping pad I need and stuff like that, but I'm actually not bringing my bike packing stuff because Aaron's going to be able to take it in the car. So I'm actually going to bring my old tent, which is bigger and has more room, and I do have like a Thermarest sleeping pad that I don't bring on bike tours because it's too big. So it's nice that I'll be able to, I'll bring real pillows and all that kind of stuff. And so we only really need the food that we need during the day and stuff like that on our bikes and stuff like that. So I'm kind of excited to first trip to get away, bike tour of the year. Weather looks decent. Originally it was showing rain, and I think now it's showing the days getting into the 70s and 40s at night, which would be good for sleeping and campfires. And like I said, we're able to bring all the stuff we want since we don't have to have everything on the bikes the whole time. So I don't have my headphones on.
Rusty Shackelford super chatted $2.69. Tim is a vampire and everybody knows it. Vampire, vampire, bat, bat.
Vampire, vampire, bat, bat. Back to the bikes. Malk was saying that he got his girlfriend Jameis step through. Nice. Oh yeah, I was looking, Dylan, at how there is some serious, the way you're saying single track. There's a bunch. It looks like there's a bunch of spots that have mountain biking around here. I didn't in the Google Maps. In Google Maps, I had put in like biking near here to try and find where I was and where the trail went. And there was like 4 or 5 spots around here that had like actual mountain biking in them. I'm also wondering if this dam, like right by where we're sleeping, is worth going and checking out. But yeah, so the rail trail, the actual original rail was pre-Civil War, and then it's changed hands a number of times until the state finally got it and put in this bike trail. So I think, so it's 72 miles, so then we'll end up doing, about 70 miles each day since it'll be out and back, which I'm cool with. Like, I kind of want to see it. And one of those, At first I'm like, oh, out and back, but I realize like I ride out and back every single day of my life, so I ride the same trails all the time. So that's no big deal, especially if I haven't seen them before. It's going to be really cool. And we have a group that should be, move at a decent pace, but I also think I'm going to bring my drone and bring my nice camera. And so sometimes I might, step on the gas and ride ahead of the group and like set everything up to try and get some cool shots, like especially of some of these bridges. I was thinking it'd be cool to go over the top of a tunnel and catch the group on the other side. Don't know how feasible that is with the drone. Obviously, I couldn't go into the tunnel because if you lose contact with the drone, it's just going to stop and stay where it was. Unless you pre-program the route, which would probably be a little tricky to do while I'm trying to keep up on a bike trip. But hey, what's up, Happy Trails? Dylan said there's a massive trail system near Parkersburg, around 30 miles. There's a shorter distance of single track near the North Bend Park, I think about 10 miles. Still trying to make me out to be a vampire. Rusty said he used to teach in Rocky River. Was a park ranger on the weekends, may have volunteered. He bragged about busting people for drinking in state parks. You know, I used to worry about like drinking where you weren't supposed to drink, like at state parks, campgrounds, and all that. And then once I wasn't a teenager or early 20s or someone were not getting rowdy anymore, you realized you're really not going to have problems. But then with the pandemic, even like sitting on a park picnic bench or whatever, like me and Large Marge would do this time last year when there was nothing else you were allowed to do, like I stopped worrying about it. Like some 25-year-old cop's going to come up to me during the pandemic and tell me I can't have a beer on a picnic table. I'm going to be like, hey, go pound salt, as my grandma would say. I don't know. It just doesn't worry me anymore. Yes, passing out, throwing beer cans around, blasting music, fine. Like adults, I'm 42 years old, sitting around a fire, drinking a couple beers, give me a break. I mean, you're always going to have like those, people who are out just to bust people and rules are rules are rules. But yeah, I would like to see the ranger who would come and bust 6 adults around this fire, like having a couple beers. Yeah, it's interesting to say you guys were saying, someone was saying that trail is bucket list and stuff like that. That's what Kenny was telling me, but I was completely unaware of it till they did the trip and saw some of their photos. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that would be awesome. And then of course last year it was out. And this year when they were scheduling it, I'm like, oh yeah, I could pull that off. Especially Sunday and Monday works really well. Those are Large Marge's days off work. And usually I almost never have a gig on a Sunday. I'll work Sunday evenings to edit some stuff and get ahead, but not a big deal. So yeah, what's camping for if you can't have booze? I mean, you don't, yeah, I mean, there's definitely been times where I've been tired enough out camping and hiking that I did not have a drink. But yeah, in general, if I'm going to sit around a campfire, I'm going to have a drink or two. The city we're starting in is Cairo, but that's in the middle. I believe, is Parkersburg the city that is at the end of the... Okay, so there's Cairo. That's the... Oh, wait, I don't have it up here. Sorry. So we're camping over here. Cairo is here, but I believe the 2 cities that bookend the trip are... Yeah. I think it's Parkersburg. And on the other end is what? Penns? Let's see, Clarksburg. I would need to get the trail actually up here. The West Virginia State Park website is not very good at showing like what the trail actually looks like. I need to turn off this. Let's see. Can I recenter that? Where's Cairo? There's Cairo. Let's get it on the trail. No, Pennsboro keeps going. Nope. Yeah, Parkersburg on the one end. I'm not sure what's on the other end. Oh, here, this must be it right here. What do they call that? Wolf Summit? I mean, it's showing it like it ends here. NBR2 Wolf Summit Trailhead. So that Dylan said, let us know about the trail conditions. Last summer they were installing fiber cable along the path and it was ripped up in many parts. Supposedly they were going to repair it better than the original. Yeah, I actually watched a video of someone riding it last year. They were going to do the long tunnel. That was their goal. And they were showing how they were riding along and trying to avoid where all that fiber optics was going in. Obviously, this is West Virginia, and this railroad had put in the best lines, I'm sure, so had picked the best line to get through the mountains and put in all those tunnels, so it makes sense that that's where the fiber optics would need to go in a, you know, rural state like West Virginia. But yeah, hopefully it's all buttoned up. Yeah, I think since they went the year before, it hadn't been started yet. They said at worst it's like, well, what would I compare it to? They said like double. There's a couple parts that felt a little bit like double track, but nothing, you know. I'm gonna ride the Raleigh. That makes sense. But Rick said any hammocks on the trip. I don't think anyone would be doing a hammock style sleeping for this. Like I said, since we are going to have our cars right at the campsite, there's really no reason to go on full on like backpacking, bike packing gear. I'll actually still bring my bike packing sleeping bag because it's actually more comfortable than the one I used to use. But yeah. I think I'm gonna throw up because we do have a new member, C Masco, but I just added her to the last video. Run and take a piddle, and then we'll be right back. We are going to take a quick break here. Let's first thank the members, though. They really do help make this channel better in every way. If you want to add your name to this list, there is a link in the chat right now and also below this video. It is really appreciated. Like I said, it will help make the channel better in every way, but you also do get some special perks. There are extra videos, more content, discount on swag, and a few other things. Check out the link if you're interested. We do appreciate any support here, though, so if you're just tuning in to watch for a little while, you know, hit the like button. They say it helps out. But yeah, any kind of support, whether you've ever, you know, bought a piece of swag, done a super chat, but even just watching is good enough. I appreciate it. I really have fun doing this, so I'm glad we have a little community here. Also, take this chance again to say join us in the Discord. That's become a really cool thing, too. We'll be back in about a minute, but one more time, thanks to the members. Malk was asking about the music I use in my videos. It's a mix. So I've used a lot of my own band's music from when I was in my 20s. Some is from local artists. I've traded. I've done some video work and had some people give me some songs, and then some is from music sites as well. But yeah, I spend a lot of time like searching through the music when I do the music sites to find something that I think is going to be fits the video or a little more unique. I don't really like the typical stuff that everyone gets from the same couple major music sites. But yeah, I like to get rock and roll, obviously, or reggae-ish tuna boat songs that are about albacore. So, oh my God, this Rick edit over here. Oh man. Mokatez dropped a photo of his Surly in here too, which is pretty cool. Nice. See, 35 miles on the new Absolute Black Oval chain ring yesterday. How then he just said, eh. Oh, I know where that park is. I went with my friend there. He was climbing rocks, and I was riding around on skateboards. Yeah, I've been there before. Not Funny Brad, but Flavortown Brad, who was on the show before. He took me to this park a couple times. We rode skateboards, and he did climbing. I was not, having never climbed, I wasn't interested. But Akron albacores. Just banana hammocks. JMZ said he can't remember who posted on the Discord, but he can't stop listening to Chill Hop. I haven't checked that one out. Like, I like the What Are You Listening To, and I'm getting good suggestions from it, but I need to get caught up on that. Checking out some of the things. Same with the vids. I've been watching a lot of the GCN Plus documentaries lately. Their Legend series, like the ones on Museo, which I absolutely loved. I heard a map I had that night after watching that one. The Schlecks, we were talking about that, Andy Schleck in the Discord. And I just watched the Cancelera one, which I really enjoyed too. I thought he was pretty interesting. I love that he saved so many bikes, which is unusual for pros. They usually don't get to keep them, but if you're Fabian Cancelera, they probably let you keep a lot more bikes than most, than a domestique. So yeah, I'm kind of actually behind on catching up with some of the cool videos that everybody posts because I've been getting into the GCN documentaries on the evenings. So, and then my regular YouTube with Pathless Pedal, Terry Berenson. We were talking about someone posted in the Discord Terry's like urban gravel video, which is really cool. And he was even talking about on the urban gravel how it was paved underneath. And he was like, so something used to be here. And I was commenting on his video. I'm like, that's the stuff we do out here. It's like those Moon Tower trails that we ride out in Kent. That was the biggest rail yard between Chicago and New York at one time. And now there's just like remnants of that roundhouse, and that everyone calls it the Moon Tower, but it's an old water tower for the steam engines. But there's like nothing else except some trails to rip around on. So yeah, I definitely liked his like urban gravel one. Before I started using the term industrial gravel, that's what I had titled a couple videos, but I didn't like the people use like a negative connotation, like a race connotation for urban. So I felt like industrial was a better way to go about that term. The King of Broadford asked, is the King of Beers on GCN Plus? That was the first thing I watched on there. Me and Large Marge and Molnar watched that one, the Ted King. Someone mentioned the Adventure series on GCN Plus. That's one I haven't gotten into yet, but I will, and I'll probably end up watching more of that stuff as, in the winter, but or rainy days. But Rodeo Labs had a video on their Instagram stories on them riding the Pelly, Cocopelli trail that looks super fun. You have to check that out. Yeah, I'm really particular about music, but I'm always looking to at least like hear what other people are listening to. But there's a lot of stuff that I could hear like once and be like, nope, not for me. So it's worth checking out. On Sunday, I went for a ride and ran into a friend, and then we were nerding out about. I posted this in the Discord that I've just been on this like Big Audio Dynamite kick, and he happened to be a Clash fan, and he liked Big Audio, and I'm like, that's the first time I've talked to someone in person about Big Audio in 15 years. So the reason I like them, it's Mick Jones from the Clash, and he was. Even though everyone thinks the Clash was all Joe Strummer, most of the music was actually written by the other guitar player, Mick Jones. So, Big Audio back in the day, I didn't really care as much for the production of their music, but I liked hearing Mick Jones' songwriting later. And now, the production, I actually, as I was saying, is a little bit ahead of its time, mixing in DJs and hip hop with the rock and all that kind of stuff. So, I do like that in life when you circle back on something and appreciate it even more. So, man, when we were out and about, we were downtown Akron. We stopped. There's a brand new Mexican restaurant in this really beautiful building. It's actually called the Gothic Building, and there used to be like a high-end Mexican restaurant, and we stopped there to check it out. Me, Large Marge, and Molnar, and I ate a burrito, and I am still stuffed. But another reason I'm late. We're riding around looking for these bike racks and mapping out the bike parking in Akron. Had our door drink, had dinner, and so yeah. What else do you guys got? I didn't plan for much because I was late. I knew I wanted to talk about that trip, which I'm excited for. Like I said, just excited to get out of town and do something different. I'm even kind of really excited for the Saturday morning thing, like 50-mile solo ride, getting up early. I'm kind of looking forward to just hammering it like 50 miles down to this place, and then I'll get all these. Sure, I'll get all these crazy looks that you rode your bike here. Pudgy, all the high-end Mexican restaurants are outside of the Southwest. In the Southwest, it's just called a restaurant. You go in New York City and get a duck taco for $25, or, you know, the one that was in this spot was like I liked it. A lot of people didn't, but you're talking like the 15-hour margarita style restaurant. Like, well, Nuevo. I think the full name of the old one was Nuevo Mod Mex. So, you can imagine. Rusty said he might F this up because of alcohol, but Cocopelli is the symbol of love and mischief, or some S in the southwestern native cultures. Huh. Let me look this up while we're talking about it, right? So let's see, right here from Wikipedia. 142-mile multi-use trail in Grand County, Utah, and Mesa County, Colorado, in the western United States. Oh, there. It's going to say what the name means. Let's go and look at it. The trail was named in honor of its mythic muse, Kokopelli. No, it doesn't go anywhere else with that explanation. Let's see. A fertility deity, usually depicted as a humpback flute player, often with feathers and antenna-like protrusion on his head, who is venerated by some Native American cultures in the southwestern United States. Like most fertility deities, Kokopelli presides over both childbirth and agriculture. He is also a trickster god and represents the spirit of music. Interesting. Oh, wait, where did I... Let's go back to the actual trail. Oh, wow. Oh, if that's the view you get from there. $15,000 feet, over 158 miles. That sounds tough. Oh, so this is like this. This is not gravel bike material, huh? Oh, Broadford's waxing his chains now. Yeah. Go back. Large Mark said, "Go back to the dick bird." The cow, right? But I'll go back to the dick bird after some more pictures of the trail. They're actually fat biking it, huh? Fat bike packing? Is that what you call that? Look at those views, though. Oh, Pudgy said Rodeo rode it on gravel bikes. Patrick said tacos are best served as street food. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we had a fancy Mexican restaurant and I dug it. They were doing like unique things with the style. And all the margaritas were house made with real juice, not just syrup and stuff like that. But yeah, I like all of it. I like all of it. I like the LA style Mexican food that's typical of the Mexican restaurants that are all over the Midwest. I like the street food style, definitely if I'm traveling somewhere down there. Brodford is saying he thinks most people rock it on gravel bikes. Yeah, see, like where they're showing it here, it looks like it, but in some of those photos, it looked fairly gnarly. Okay, this is gravel bike material here. Cool night photo there. Yeah, I guess it depends on how soft this sand is, which we were discussing with Patty Redbeard, Patrick Barbie last week. Last week, was that last week today? Yeah, a week ago today. Last week today. Oh, but that's like gnarly stuff right there. Those kind of rocks are not fun to ride over on your gravel bike. That looks absolutely stunning. Now you want to Oh, where'd it go? I thought I could just go back to the bird. See. Damn it. Sorry. Oh, I know. Yeah. Those rocks, stay away from nutmeg from Patty, or from Pudgy. Oh, Rusty said underbiking is fun. Is fun AF. I mean, I know. I mean, the bike I ride that has the widest tires are 42. So underbiking is, and as I've said before, with me and Large Marge, just were told about all the industrial gravel around here. I was riding my Viscount Aerospace on like 23 or 25s, and he was riding a fixed gear flat bar like track bike. So yeah, underbiking is nothing. I mean, I'm very, very, very familiar with it. I just don't know on a long trip if I want, and I'm not saying that one is because I'm not familiar with it. A lot of what we look like, a lot of what we look at look totally acceptable on gravel bikes. But I can imagine like when Micah was telling his story, that kind of underbiking for like 3 or 4 days in the heat would not be the kind of underbiking I would want to do. I was only looking at the faces, so Large Marge, if you're going to mock native cultures, maybe you should stay out of the Southwest. Really, what is that picture? Oh, it's a representation of that. Okay. Rusty said the fool's loop is under biking no matter what. Well, like when Michael was talking about the segments, and it turned out like only like I can't remember what number he said, but it was like what was it like 10 to 20 people had done it on Strava? Like that's nuts, you know. A bird in the hand. It's like if Brad's tattoo was better. You out, Dylan? All right, see you, man. I got a work email at 10:35 at night. That's interesting. Oh man. If we do a straight up image search for this, is there a lot of oh yeah. Forgot that Firefox is garbage. Here's the dick bird facing the other way. Oh yeah, I can't. Did Brad promise to show the tattoo on the meetup? There you go. Someone should support these. So it seems like the flute is the more common version, and the one holding a boner is the less common version. Brad promised to show socks. Google image search, try yin yang lizard tattoo. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if anyone has ever done it. He's not here tonight, but he has a tendency to watch these after the fact. So, no, these are all like, well, still corny. These are nothing like the one Brad has. The yin yang needs to be the head of the lizard. You know, these are like lizards integrated into yin yangs. His is a yin yang integrated into a lizard. Rusty said he wishes he really did have a Bo Jackson, but he prefers paying down debt as opposed to an $8,000 bike. Flute boner. Yeah, skin flute versus actual flute, I think is what we've realized is going on there. Pudgy says, honestly, he's already searched Google. Yep. You can't find it on Google because Brad drew it himself. Like he said, the tattoo artist legitimately tried to talk him out of it. Which is my favorite part of the story, is Brad being like, no, this is cool, and this will always be cool, you know? Well, dudes, I actually think I am going to call it an early night tonight, and not just because I was not prepared, but because I do have a full day of work these next, well, full 3 days of work left this week. We're riding tomorrow night, our first group ride back. Going to stream Thursday again. Want to get a video done so I could have something up Monday while I'm gone. I have that half shot. I have like 3 videos half shot, but definitely want to get something up to keep having a new one up, at least one every week going. I've kept that streak alive, and I want to keep going. As you can see, we hit 1,500 subscribers, which is kind of a new landmark and kind of cool as well. 21 members. So, yeah, I'm going to call it an early night tonight so I could get everything done, so I could go on my trip, be confident that I've got everything done before I leave, and then make videos about the trip while we're out there. So appreciate everybody hanging out as always, and keep the supple side down. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong channel. Wait, this is how we do it. Peace.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is how I
Fitzwater photo.